Welcome to another edition of the Goalpost. I'm your host, Oluwabayowa. I'm not alone. I have the usual suspects. Collins is making a return. Collins, good morning. How are you doing, Collins?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Marwa. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, Collins, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you.
It's been an interesting week of football. We saw a whole lot of teams um, messing up now in quotes in the APL. I mean, your favorite, your darling team lost, and you know, I think a whole lot of people are beginning to call for the head of Liam Rosdorf. But let's get into things. A whole lot of games were played over the weekend, and practically some results were shocking, some results were expected, and some were a bit, were a bit tantalizing. Arsenal is now 9 points clear of Man City. Man City decided to drop points again. But let's start with the first game. Let's start with the Chelsea Newcastle game. Let's start with your club's game. What went wrong in that particular game? Gordon scored that goal, and that was it. You could not get yourself back into the game, and that game ended 1-0. This has been consecutively the third time that Liam Rosnell has dropped points. What do you think is the issue?
Okay. Thank you for that. Um, I think it gets to a point, right? It gets to a point where you'll see, you'll see, how should I put it? You'll see positivity, but you'll not see it being, like, you'll not see it affecting the outcome of the game. Understand? You see your team doing the right things. You see your team doing what they're supposed to do, and you not see it affecting the result of the game. So this has happened with this guy over time, and when it becomes when it becomes repeated, when it becomes a repeated occurrence, that's when it becomes a problem. It no longer goes from it not becomes it now becomes a problem because I think this guy is an interim coach for a reason. You know, he's an interim coach for a reason. And honestly, from what we saw, we Chelsea fans, from what we saw about this guy so far, it hasn't been so bad. But you see this particular one, this Newcastle game, and the other PSG game that he played, where we lost shamelessly in the Champions League. This Newcastle game was the I don't know. We played well, but Newcastle just defended better. You understand? This Newcastle just contained us really well. You understand? Because all our attacks and everything were on point. Honestly, he made the right substitution when it was that time, and yet nothing. But the major problem we have is our defense. Our defense is shaky. Our defense is not it at all. You understand? The defense is just okay. Look at the goal. Look at the goal Newcastle scored. I'm going to put the blame on Palmer and our attackers. I think it was Palmer and I forgot the other player. They were supposed to cover this guy. They were supposed to mark him, but Palmer was busy pointing, directing. What happened to you? And that guy just took one pass to break our entire midfield, break the defense, and it was a goal. The miscommunication in midfield, the miscommunication in defense. All it took was one pass. And as I saw, as honestly, as soon as I saw that poor press, because if the attackers have closed down that defender, you will not have the chance to play that pass. It was just one pass, and that's how the goal was scored. And I was even watching the match. While I was watching the match, we considered like this against Aston Villa first. When we considered against Aston Villa, I was 100% sure that we are going to win that game because Aston Villa's defense it was not looking good at all. But when we considered against Newcastle, I was not sure because these guys were already containing us. They were defending as units, they were attacking as units. That's the way they were able to hold off Barcelona. Defending as a unit, we all know how rugged and stubborn Newcastle is. And we did everything right, but we couldn't break them. You understand? So I think this calls for a concern because we need the manager. I think Chelsea is above. People were telling me that Liam Rosenberg is not the kind of manager Chelsea needs. You understand? He's not a big name. And honestly, I have to agree with them because this guy, I don't think I'm a huge fan of Liam Rosenberg. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of the guy, but as a Chelsea fan, I know what Chelsea so like, and I want to see that again. I want to see a manager that can rocket one season, win us one trophy, and maybe we get away with it, we do away with it. But this particular one, nah, if you get an actual manager,
But I mean, is it more of he doesn't have the experience to move Chelsea forward, or is more of the players not performing up to par? I mean, if you look at the midfield in that particular game, the midfield was not up to par. The midfield they were the second balls were not there. They were not winning the second balls consistently. And if you want to win any game, one of the things you need to do consistently well is to win second balls. That's number one. Number two, the midfield was so porous, and Newcastle had a whole lot of opportunity to work with. Don't you think it's more of the players, not the coach now?
um, yeah, you're right, you're 100% right. The all the area balls were just going to Newcastle because these guys were really tall. Like I was like, who tall are Newcastle players? You understand? Okay, this 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 falls on the players to be aggressive. You understand in winning duels, right? It falls on the players to be aggressive in winning duels. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame Newcastle because most of Newcastle players are taller than us. You understand? From their strikers to their defenders, they are really tall. You understand? But that's not an excuse. We've seen average players go man to man with giants and win the ball area. You understand? It's a skill. You understand? So I think that's what killed us because every ball that was launched into the our players were not touching the ball and it was frustrating, especially in the first half. It was really frustrating. You understand? Because once you win these balls, you understand, it gives you an opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to possess the ball. And once you possess the ball, there's a lot you can do when you're in possession of the ball. You understand? So when you win this ball, it gives you an opportunity to strategize. So I'm not going to blame the midfield. I'm not going to blame the midfield because the midfield wasn't the only team. They weren't the only one. The entire team were not winning balls. You understand? They were not challenging for duel. Even though they challenge, they lose every one of them. In fact, they lose every area duel. The only duel they were managed to win just the land ones. But area duels were a problem for us because of the way Newcastle players were built. You understand? And as much as I want to fault the midfielders, I'm going to fault the whole team for that. You understand? The midfield of Enzo, Caicedo, and Santos has been honestly, it has been impressive so far. It has been impressive so far. Just a few lapses here and there. And even against PSG, they weren't that bad. You understand? Against PSG, they weren't that bad. PSG was that case entirely on its own. You understand? But against Newcastle, I'm not going to fault the midfielders, honestly. I'm not going to fault the midfielders, and especially Enzo Fernandez. This guy has been playing heaven and hell earth for us. This guy has been playing all for us. And he has been giving it all. Caicedo, we all know who Caicedo is. So, because for that match, I'm not faulting the midfield. No, I'm not doing that. So, I'm going to, if I'm going to fault the midfield for, I'm going to fault the entire team instead of just the midfield. You understand? There's no need to keep scapegoating the midfield.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's move on to another game that caused a whole lot of people to start scratching their head. Um, I mean, there has been calls for an slot to be fired. It seems an slot does not know what he's doing. However, if you look at that particular team, I've said it consistently, the central of defense is an issue. Look at the goal that was considered. There was no Konate yesterday. There was a Joe Gomez, but the same thing still happened. Anytime Van Dijk is on the field, there is always mistake happening. Look at that goal that Richarlison scored. Even in that particular game, it seems the attack of Liverpool, they've lost their mojo. Mo Salah was nowhere to be found. Mo Salah is not the same Mo Salah of old. What do you make of the Liverpool? Tottenham game. Is it that Arne Slot does not have any idea of what he's doing? A lot of people are beginning to complain that they want Arne Slot gone.
Um, I think normally I will not agree with Liverpool fans and maybe some other fans that will call for Arne Slot to be sacked. I will not agree with them. But see, after that Tottenham game, I'm agreeing with them. If anybody is calling for is if anybody is saying Arne Slot should be sacked after that game, I agree with you. In fact, I'm leading the protest. I'm leading the charge. You understand? Because what do you mean? Do you know the funny thing? Spurs, you know how I usually call out Spurs. Spurs has they have actually gotten worse since that. I looked at their squad. He brought in he got rid of brought in two new guys I've never seen before. Injury. I think their side is injury reading right now. You understand? Spurs is no longer. I was like, what is this? What they look like a Middlesbrough or Watford championship. They're already preparing for championship already because the names I'm seeing on their squad list is championship. So how do you lose to how do you drop points to that? How do you drop points to Spurs as Liverpool? You understand? And you're right. Even before Spurs were actually pressing Liverpool in the first half. Spurs were having actual chances in the first half, and Liverpool were the one being on the back before Liverpool finally got the opener. Yeah, you're right about the defense. I've always said it. You're right. That is the same thing that happened against what match? I think the match they lost 2-1. I've forgotten that match that they lost. Dining was it to Wolves or to Leeds? It like lost 2-1. This was the same thing that a cheap goal. That's the kind of goal leads the Wolves scored or lead at is it Wolves? Yeah, I think it's Wolves. You understand?
Well,
That's the kind of goal Wolves scored. Cheap goal. And it's very shameful once you drop points to this Spurs side. And the slot knows this. You understand? Even his post game conference, he knows what it means. He knows what it means. But I'm telling you now, Mr. Bayowa, that I was reading and slot post match conference. It was not confidence. That's not the words of a man. That's not the words of a man that knows what he's doing. That's not the words of the man that can actually pick these guys all back. You understand? This guy has lost faith. The fans have lost faith. You understand? They are just hoping that with whatever that is left of the season, maybe he can magically take them to the Champions League. You understand? And maybe you know win them champ win them the Champions League trophy, which is very impossible. But there's nothing impossible with football. You understand?
I
So
mean,
that's
where they stand now, do you think they can still make it to the Champions League spot? Yes, we know Aston Villa has been inconsistent. Aston Villa is now below Manchester United. However, the fifth position that they are in is more of qualification for Champions League. And with this kind of performance, do you think they can still nail a Champions League spot down at the moment because of the performance that we are seeing at the moment?
I hope not, because I want Chelsea to take that spot. You understand? Because Manchester United obviously have picked up their form and they've locked the third position. And I knew Aston Villa are going to drop down. I knew those guys were not serious. Those guys, I don't know what they're looking for, what they were doing in third before. I don't know what they were doing there before. But it's good they have found their place. You understand? So I hope Liverpool does not make it to the Champions League because of my team.
Hmm.
You understand? But for what I'm seeing, if I'm to be objective about it, from what I'm seeing, no, they are not making appeal to the top four. You understand? As disastrous as Chelsea are better than them, but they are better than Aston Villa. So Aston Villa will have to make way for two of us to fight it out. You understand? The earlier the better. I'm going to call Unai Emery and tell him to go and quickly leave that spot for us. I don't know what he's doing there. You understand? So yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, Another game that caught people's attention is the Man City game. It seems Guardiola has lost it. Guardiola of old will not drop points consecutively while chasing the title. Is it more of because he's building a new team, or it's more of, you know, Guardiola is no longer interested anymore. He just wants to do his time and go. A lot of people have said this might be his last season, and we might be seeing the last season effect. Remember the last season of Jurgen Klopp? The result was fantastic, and suddenly the result became horrible. Don't you think the same thing is happening at the moment to Man City? I mean, they drew last week 2-2 to Nottingham Forest relegation side. This week, another relegation threatening side, West Ham, they drew 1-1 to them again. What do you make of this particular game?
Um, Man City, their results so far, yeah, in as much as it has been shocking, it has not been shocking to many of us that actually see the kind of football Man City play these days. You understand? Their football is not perfect. You understand? When we are talking about the big side, when it comes to their partners, their competitors, their rivals in the title race, Arsenal. If we are comparing play styles, right? If we are comparing play styles, Arsenal is like they are miles ahead of Man City when it comes to play style. And this is hard for me to say, but I'm going to say it. You understand? So when that is kind of the way Man City play, you know that sooner or later teams will start catching up. Teams they'll start dropping points. You understand? What Pep mastered this season was how, despite playing nonsense, how to win. He mastered it. Yeah, yeah. Let me not say he mastered. He's learning it. You understand? He's learning how to go away from his possessive football, his tiki taka football, his danger pressing football, his high press. He's learning how to go away from that to playing the football of commoners. I'm going to say commoners because it's not everybody you see that can play what Pep did in his prime. You understand? So he's learning how to go from that. And the thing with playing this football is that you are getting the results, but you are not going to play for. You are not going to play fantastically. You are not going to play really, really well. You understand? So Pep have been learning that this season. But even at that, the lapses are still there. The lapses are still huge. The lapses are so big that if you are watching Man City, you'll be saying that this thing is supposed to punish them. This thing is supposed to punish them. But they will not. Martin will end up winning. But I think their luck are finished. Their luck are finished. You understand? So do I see this season being Pep's last season? No. I still see Pep coming next season with what he has learned. Because this season is a learning curve for Pep. It's a learning curve. It's that guy is still learning. You understand? He's a madman. Pep is a madman. He's still coming back next season. So it's not this season. Pep has been. It's obvious that you can see that Pep is not Pep. The kind of football Pep is playing is not the kind of football he usually plays. You understand? He's trying something different this season. You understand? And because he's trying something different, he's having this few lapses here and there, few holes here and there, which is normal. You understand? It's not like everything shouldn't be perfect. You understand? And even that time he was on a winning streak and he cut the gap between him and Arsenal to 3 points. You understand? His results, you understand, the way he plays things and the way he wins was very evident that if these teams had maybe put in a little bit of effort, they would have won or gotten points from him. But Pep always end up winning. You understand? He always end up winning because he's mastering that art of playing nonsense and winning. You understand? That's what makes teams great. You understand? Even if you play nonsense, at least you will just see, look at Arsenal now. Arsenal can play all the old nonsense in the world. They can play all the old nonsense in the world, and they just get one set piece and they win you. That's what's going to make them win the league. That's what because they can go the extra mile. You understand? Their attackers will not deliver, but you will just see them scoring goal from an unwanted source. You understand? That's what Man City are trying to master. And because Man City have not mastered that yet, you understand? That's why they're having all these mixed results. You understand? I know that it's a catch up with them sooner or later when they were winning 1-0, 2-1, luckily. I'm not going to say luckily because luck is also, but I'm still going to say luckily. You understand? But now it's catching up with them and it's expected. You understand? Look at the game against West Ham. Look at the second half. I didn't think West Ham crossed their 18. Man City had on the whole ball. Yet they couldn't do anything with it. They couldn't score. They couldn't win. You understand? And you asked the question. You said, do I see Pep doing the Jurgen Klopp and leaving this season? No, I don't see Pep leaving this season. I don't see Pep. I don't see Pep running away because if he leaves, he's running away. And Pep that I know, Pep is not the kind to run away. You understand? If anything, Pep is learning something this season. He's going to put whatever he has learned this season into practice next season. If he doesn't do it at Man City, he's doing it at another club. If he doesn't do it at Man City, he's doing it at another club. So he's going to put this into practice next season. He's going to accept the challenge. You understand? And come back next season. He's not going to run. He's not going to because this is a terrible. It's not even a bad season for him. Come on, it's not a bad season for him. He's second. You understand? It's maybe because the standard is so high. The standard is so high for Pep Guardiola that this is looking like a bad season for him. You understand? If we are going to do it that way, maybe it's a bad season for him because even Pep has said he won the league. He won the league. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
That place is kind of
Yeah, I
noisy.
can, I can, I can, I can. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, I can.
Okay. Pep won how many league titles in a row, and he won how many in how many. So yeah, the standard is high for him. The standard is crazy for him. But if we're just looking at it from a normal manager, a normal coach standpoint, you understand? He's come on, he's second. Ateta was second for how many years in a row? He was second for so this is the learning season for Pep. You understand? Take it from me, this is a learning season for Pep. He's learning a lot this season. He's learning to do something different. And if he doesn't come back to show us what he has learned next season at Man City, he's going to do it at another club. But I hope he does it at Man City because some people have been saying nonsense. They have been, when people just see one mistake and people start talking nonsense on your name, you understand. So Pep has Pep have a lot of doubt how to prove wrong next season, and I'm going to be here for it.
Okay, that's very fantastic. Let's move over to another game that had a whole lot of bearing on it. It seems Manchester United cannot stop winning. Um, they played an Aston Villa side, and they scored first. Aston Villa equalized, and two quick goals. Um, what do you make of that particular game? Do you think? And there has been talks of the Manchester United board looking for a permanent manager and wanting to do away with a Carrick. Don't you think this performance is an indication that the board should consider hiring Carrick on a permanent basis? I mean, as an interim manager, he has only lost one game out of 8 games. He has lost one, won six, drew one.
Okay. Honestly, like Carrick is doing fantastically well. He's doing really well. You understand? He has won 5 home games in a row. That's something. He's turning Old Trafford to a fortress. Same Old Trafford, me and you know that if you go there, it's free shop 3 points. He's turning it to a fortress. That's wonderful. That's fantastic. Um, and the thing is that somehow I like the guy. You understand? I don't really like Manchester United managers like that, but I like Michael Carrick. And he just lately I just discovered that he's humble, which is I don't know, maybe I'm expecting to be humble. But when Rooney like recommended him for the job and he gracefully declined. Not that he declined, he gracefully and humbly, you know, belittling himself that let's know is not his head is not there, all this kind of talks that he's not looking at it, he's focused on winning games while as an interim manager, he's not looking to be a head coach and this all this humbling talk that you just get. And I think that's what caught my attention because if you are doing well like this, but let's be honest, it's just 7 games. Or it's just 8 games, you understand? It's just 8 games. We know a certain manager. We know a certain manager that won more. But when they employed him, understand, we know how it went. I don't want to mention names. But when they employed him, he went upside down. You understand? So I think he should keep doing the job as an interim manager. Is that even if I'm not happy. He's currently taking up the third position. I didn't expect Man U to be so to become so good. that they go ahead of Chelsea. I thought we are brothers in this thing. I thought if we lose, I lose. If I win, you win. You understand? I thought we were going this thing. I don't know. My brother is going to betray me and go further ahead, leaving me behind. You understand? So the guy is doing really well. I have nothing terrible to say about him. I watched the match against Aston Villa. It was complete domination. Aston Villa are not really. I keep saying this now. Aston Villa are not really Aston Villa. You understand? I don't know what they are doing in top position. You understand? From the way we dismantled them, from the way Manchester United dismantled them. Also, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. You understand? Bruno Fernandes is not a player I really like, but this guy have accumulated 16 assists this season. Four more assists, and we joined De Bruyne and SerieA as the only players in the Premier League that have what recorded 20 assists in the season. That's really impressive. Oh. You understand? That guy has been an engine room for Manchester United. You know, I think he recorded 2 assists, taking titles. That's not really impressive. So all these things come together is what's making Manchester United formidable at the moment. You understand? And I see them. I see them as long as like a Carrick is an interim manager. You understand? Manchester United will keep flourishing. They'll keep doing well. You understand? So that's nice. Well done to them.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's go to the last game of the bunch that we are going to review. Another important thing happened over the weekend. Arsenal were able to win their game. Um, it was very late. The game was it was very intense. Everton stretched them a whole lot, but Arsenal ended up prevailing. Um, when a whole lot of people thought Ateta would bring in, you know, a very bring in somebody with experience, he decided to bring in a 16-year-old, and 16-year-old this will be the third time he's going to play for Arsenal. He came in at the point where Arsenal were still struggling; they've not scored any goal, and when he came in, he changed the game. That is Doman. What do you make of that particular game and the performance of Doman?
Okay, I'm going to start this by saying congratulations to Arsenal for the Premier League title, English Premier League title, because they won it, you understand? And it's with a pain in my heart, it's with a sadness in my heart that I announce this and crown them the winners. You understand? So, and good luck. I just pray they don't win the Champions League the way they just won the Premier League. You understand? So moving on, yeah, that man, honestly, when he came on, I didn't watch the match, but from what I saw, you understand, it was a spark of brilliance. Ateta, that's the word Ateta used to describe him. A spark of creativity. You understand? So when he came, you understand, you know when you are struggling to get goals, we all know the way Arsenal play sometimes whenever they are frustrated and look Everton is always frustrating Arsenal. You understand? So whenever Arsenal are frustrated, their football will be kind of cagey. They'll once they pass to Saka, they will pass to Rice, they will pass to all this. So, but from the way Ateta described this guy, just so that when he came, you understand, the whole thing changed. You understand? But I saw the goal he scored. That was very beautiful. You understand? First of all, I understand Pickford going to challenge for corner. I mean, the score was just 1-0. You understand? Now, if he had scored, that's 1-1. You understand? But come on, look at the goal he scored. He just let that guy lie down in good pastures and calmly, very calmly slot the ball into that's the kind of goals. That's the kind of goal that stars score. That kind of goal is not the kind of goal you see your random footballer scoring. You understand? It's only stars, it's only big names, potential big names that score that kind of goals. And I'm scared. I'm scared of what this guy is going to become because if he can be this calm, if he be that composed in front of goal, ah, there's problem. And Arsenal fans are always talking about this down man guy. And I'm not somebody that wants to believe the hype because it's Arsenal. I don't want to believe anything good can come out of Arsenal. You understand? But I think I'm being forced to change my mind here. But let's see how it goes, right? You understand? Arsenal have tried this season, honestly. Also, I said something when I remember when they wanted to play Chelsea, and I said Arsenal are going to play against Chelsea in 2 ways. They are going to play against Chelsea physically and they are going to play against Chelsea mentally. It seems that Arsenal have overcome that mental hurdle. You understand? Arsenal are longer, they are no longer in their head. You understand? Because all this while why they keep bottling the league is because it gets in their head and they end up making silly mistakes and end up losing the league. You understand? But it seems they have overcome that mental hurdle. And honestly, I'm going to give kudos to Arsenal. I'm going to give kudos to Ateta. I'm going to give kudos to the entire coaching staff because it's impressive seeing them despite everything. They can still win. They can still grind out results. That's what makes them a better side than Man City. You understand? That's what makes them a more composed side, a more disciplined side than Man City. That's the difference. You understand? So kudos to them and congratulations to them and every Arsenal fan for winning the league title. I think after 22 years or so. That's really wonderful.
Okay, that's fantastic. I never knew I would see a day where Collins will be considering that Arsenal will win the league. But you said something. You said Arsenal is going to win the league. Don't you think there are still a lot of games and they can still squander it? And remember, um, Man City still has a game in hand. Don't you think? Do you think it's done and dusted for Arsenal?
Yes, I don't. I think it's done and dusted for Arsenal. Man City have a game in hand, and if they let's say they win, they take the points to 6 points, right? Because it's currently is the 9 point difference at the moment. You understand? If they win, they take it to with the way Man City are playing. I'm using what I'm seeing. I'm using eye test right now. I'm using what I'm seeing to judge. If you understand, from what I'm seeing, Man City. No, 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 no. I'm just going to be straight out. I'm just going to call a speed a speed. You understand? Man City go have harder games. Man City have harder features coming up. Man City still have to play Chelsea. They're not winning Chelsea. I'm going to say it on here. Man City are not winning Chelsea. So they still have harder games. So they should worry about that first. You understand? So Man City are not highest they can do is maybe Arsenal, even if Arsenal want to win the league, instead of winning it by 12 points, Arsenal may win it by 4 points. You understand? But Arsenal are still winning that league.
Okay, that's
I think
fantastic.
Pep Guardiola, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. You want to say something?
I think I think Pep Guardiola even said something about this West Ham match. He said if they drop points, that the thing is over. I think he said something like that. I think yeah, he said something like that. That if they drop points against West Ham, that the title race is over. I'm not really sure, but I think I saw something like that because he was being interviewed and the reporter was asking him the question about him saying it. You understand? But I didn't stick, I didn't stick long enough to hear his reply. So you can see that even the coach Pep knows what's up. You understand? How about we the fans that are looking at it? So let's